Hey, we're on time. We made it just on time. We're still writing the acronym that we're going to talk about today, but I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get on my phone a second screen going. Alrighty. That'll work. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and we'll give everybody a couple of minutes to get into the room, but I'm just going to throw up on the screen a link to the Discord. So if you're joining and you've not joined our Discord group, the last time we did a live stream, we had a Discord go up, and it's a really fun group of almost about 20 people, I would say, maybe more, of people who have just joined these chats and are really excited about what the future of AI looks like for marketers. And it's a really cool, lively group and discussion. And there's a couple of spaces in there where you can do Midjourney prompts, and we can all learn together about this process. So if you haven't joined that group, it's that link right there. You'll have to type it out, and I can also drop it in the comments here in a little bit as well. While we just give everybody a couple more minutes to join, hope everyone is really excited and playing around with the latest updates in the AI world around the release of ChatGPT version 4, which has some really cool updates around longer text inputs, and soon to come to more widely available the ability to do things like image recognition, image cognition, where it actually looks at the image and tries to create a solution. All those things are coming soon. So a lot of really cool updates there. And then on the image front, what we'll be actually checking out today is Midjourney version 5 came out, which is the most photorealistic version of AI image generation that I've ever seen. So that's really exciting and a really fun time. So let me just give everybody just a second longer here. I'm just filling out the last of what we're going to be going over today. And I will download it as a PDF so we have something to look at. Should be pretty fun. All right. Hope everyone's having a great Thursday. Hopefully it hasn't been too long of a week for everyone. Let's go ahead and say that for the subject that we're going to be playing around with in this comp that I'll show you in a little bit, we're going to be creating a Polaroid picture of a high-end, fashionable downtown New York City apartment interior, looking cheerful, bright, and well decorated. And the subject is going to be a chess competition. Sure. I'm just going to go ahead and pre-render that for us so we have something to look at when we get ready to do that. So again, we're just waiting a little bit longer. Polaroid picture of a high-end, fashionable downtown New York City apartment interior, looking cheerful, bright, and well decorated of a chess competition. See what that gets us. So again, today what we're going to really be concentrating on is AI image generation. I think that's going to be a really exciting topic, especially now that we have the latest version of Midjourney, version 5, which gives us a lot of really fun tools to play with. I'm going to go ahead and download our little PDF that we're going to present from today, and we'll go ahead and start jumping in. So I've got the chat going on my phone. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask the questions. The chat will also show up in StreamYard, and I can put up any questions that you want on screen. And just feel free to ask me any questions that you have about AI image generation specifically for marketers. This talk is really for anyone, from people who have never used AI before to everyone who is really deep into it. I think everyone's going to have an opportunity to learn something today. And so let's go ahead and let's see if I can get this deck into presentation mode, and we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks again for those joining right now. It's going to be really exciting. All Alrighty. Oops. Give us just a second. We want all the pages of our presentation. When will AI replace art directors and designers? You're not. I've heard a lot of people today talking about how they would want to replace certain people with AI at their jobs. And I want to say that it's not going to replace anyone. It's going to make it so that those people can concentrate on other things, maybe, or more important things, or maybe not more important, but things that they'll find more useful with their time. So like going and pulling swipe for a pitch presentation off of Google Images, maybe not that might not be the best use of their time. They can spend the time thinking about the ideas more. But not the first people I've heard talk about trying to replace their coworkers. What's a great first step for leaning into AI image creation for marketers who haven't had much exposure to date? I mean, the first big step is just to go in and start experimenting. Like I would just start jumping in and trying out all the different tools that are available. Like that's the kind of cool thing that we're into, that we're at right now, is that we can literally at this moment go and try out all the cool latest tools for free for most of these programs. And they're at the bleeding edge. Yes, I was just thinking about this today with the stock image sellers. Like there's literally no reason for you to go and buy a stock image for something that is close to what you want. We can literally go and get what you want immediately. Just a thought. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in now. And I will resize this window. Boop. Let's see how this looks. Hey, there we are. I'm going to give it more room. Hey, that's as much room as it'll take on a square. That's fine. All right. So today we're going to be talking about AI image generation. This is a workshop for marketers. I call it a workshop because I want it to be a conversation and not just one-sided. I want you to ask questions as I'm going through this stuff today. So feel free to, stop me along the way. I'm doing my best to read the comments as I go. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what AI image generation is. Like I said, this presentation is just as useful for people who this is their first time versus somebody who is deep in the thralls of AI artwork right now. So what is AI image generation? It's using an algorithm trained on large sets of images to create more images from text descriptions or images. That's kind of like a circular thinking here, but this is all basically saying it's a way to create images using a computer. And how it does it is it's a computer algorithm or a set of instructions trained on other images that is then learned what those images are using things like image recognition technology, and then how you write descriptions using things like natural language processing and other AI terms to basically make it so that it knows what words you speak mean in images. So if I write dog, it knows what dogs are because it's seen millions of images of dogs classified as dogs, and it knows that that's what it needs to use when it wants to generate an image of a dog for you. Now, what's really cool about where we are in the world of AI image generation is that these data sets are now using billions of data points, lots and lots of images. You and I have trained them to be better by our usage of these tools. And we've made it so that what is the output, what comes out of us using AI image generation, is really accurate and really fine-tuned. So the latest version of this is super photo accurate, which is version 5 of Midjourney, which is one of the tools that is my most favorite, but not the only one out there. So you may have heard of another AI image generation tool called Stable Diffusion, put out by the Stability Group. That is another really popular and one of the first AI image generation tools, or DALL-E, which is now up to DALL-E version 2, DALL-E 2, which is put out by the OpenAI group that does the ChatGPT platform. These are all AI image generation platforms that were all trained on large data sets of images, some swiped from the internet, some bought from large data sets that are publicly available to purchase. As you may know that there's some controversy and lawsuits out in the world where people are actually suing. So content creators, copyright holders, actual stock image photography sites, they might be fighting for their lives right now with these lawsuits, who are concerned or outright have proof that these algorithms stole their copyrighted images to create this artwork. There's some standing there. What is the difference between going through a museum and being inspired to create artwork like the work you saw in a museum versus a computer that does the same thing but could generate it exactly photo accurate what they just saw? It's hard to say what's inspiration and learning versus just straight up stealing. I think that I don't know if I want the courts deciding that, but maybe that's a larger discussion. What I think is important, and as a banner of caution throughout this entire presentation of using AI image generation for marketers, is that as I see it right now, there is a legal gray area between who owns the images that are generated from a computer. Now, I would say that if you are super concerned that you have either a litigious client or a litigious consumer base who is consuming your product, and you're worried that somebody might try to sue you for using possibly copyrighted images that are built inside of the algorithms that were trained on the artwork that you're going to be creating, then I would only use AI image generation internally on your own work or in teams to create inspiration. So for example, for like a pitch, if you wanted to inspire a client, or if you wanted to use it for like storyboards, or I've seen this used for casting where they're casting certain characters and they want to make sure the characters are accurate. I would not use AI image generation myself for produced work for clients that's out in the world, because if Stability loses its lawsuit against, I think it is Getty Images, there is a potential potential chilling effect where then those copyright holders that now have seen them won the first court case come after you and say, well, I want to know about your brand. And you said you just use AI to create your latest ad campaign. We want to read the prompts you wrote. At any time did you use the name of a specific creator to write your prompts? You might have seen this. People are writing AI prompts with using the exact names of famous photographers, famous artists, famous designers. That's a horrible idea, because if your prompts that you've written, which most of them are public, ever get audited and you've used a copyrighted artist name, there is legal recourse in theory that they could come after you for you generating that. I see we got another question. If you're currently using Midjourney and Discord, are you using the latest version or older version that's public? If you're currently inside of Midjourney, you are most likely still using version 4 without changing it either in your settings by going /settings and changing it specifically to V5 if that option shows up for you, and then it'll keep you in version 5. Or if you use the slash or the lines and change the style like you would where it's -- you go -- V5, then it'll change you to version 5. I would just say go in and change yourself to version 5 using /settings. And I would stick with that unless it's painfully slow for you or way too accurate, which we'll talk about in a second. So now that we're on there, what is version 5? Midjourney version 5 is an AI image generation tool specifically designed for making realistic images based on detailed prompts. So it's the latest version of the algorithm from the Midjourney team. They talked about this on their office hours on their Discord yesterday, that their specific use case for their algorithm is to create as realistic of a photo and as beautiful as a photo based on human readable detailed prompts. So in the past, even in the last class I gave 2 weeks ago now about writing images for Midjourney, the prompts have changed. The way the style they want you to write has changed. Now they really want you to write more in cohesive sentences that are detailed. The more detailed that you are, the more accurate your image is going to be. They talk about this pretty much in length in their new documentation that's on the Midjourney website. They really specifically say that this V5 is catered most to people who will write long, detailed explanations of what they want, and it'll get you that. Can you show us how people are creating mood boards with models people and merge them with a brand? Yeah, we can talk a lot about that. We can show through some of that. And then to build on that question, everything I've tried to generate struggles with implementing the text and the logos. Yes, for version 5, you'll see it when you switch over to V5. It's much better at text, and I'll show the example of that in a second. But yes, it struggles with writing the exact text that you want or keeping the same logo. Like if you upload a product shot, for example, I'll show you the Gatorade version in a second. You're not going to get a Gatorade bottle in your comp, but you're going to get something that looks like a Gatorade bottle. And the colors and the logos that you want are going to be close. But then I think you have to take it that next step and you have to Photoshop it. Now, I know that there are tools that are being created out there that are specifically designed around you being able to put your brand's logo, your brand's product, and then implement it into what happens around it and make it so that your initial image doesn't change as much. And there's some ways to tweak the prompting inside of Midjourney to get there. But I would say the best thing to do is get it as close as possible. And then if you want, you can actually, in the V5, you can change image weighting. And so you can make it so that even though the image is impacting the final render that you get, the actual product shot, for example, will be much smaller. So it's easier for you to Photoshop it in there. That would be my recommendation. But yeah, it struggles to get any of the text or the logos truly accurate. So just to talk a little bit about V5 versus V4, these are two examples that I gave. This is actually a prompt that is written by @NickFloats, which we're going to talk a lot about him in a second. But this is one of his prompts. Version 4, you can see very much looks like it was created by AI. It's kind of got like a video game-esque, very different style. It's very computer-generated style, whereas V5 literally looks like a photograph. I dare you in future work on version 5 for you to be able to find a reason why you would think it is computer generated versus not, unless there's like a very specific detail in the background that it doesn't do well. I've noticed in the background is normally the tell. Like you'll see somebody floating or somebody doing some weird action or a table without legs that really give away that it's image generated. But other than that, it is photo accurate and hyper realistic, which I love. Because that is useful for us as marketers, unless it's not, unless you're looking for something that's very different and the style is very different. But that's what you use the prompting for. You can write in and say you're looking for a cartoon style, or you're looking for a lo-fi film look. These are all things that you can do in the prompting. But this V5 versus V4 still, I think, does a great job of showing where the strengths are in the latest version, which is making as photo accurate of an image as possible. So based on that, what are some ways that we can really improve the way that we generate work inside of Midjourney? Well, before we get into additive prompting, I'm going to jump into Midjourney, and I'm going to use this as an opportunity to kind of take you through some of the things that we just talked about, which is creating images for brands. So let me just jump over there real quick. I'm going to go ahead and jump again, just dropping the Discord in here, just though if you don't know, we do have a Discord channel now for the AI for Marketers group. It's a really great place. There's like more than like 20 people, I think, now. It's a really great, lively discussion about like what we're doing in this space of AI and how cool it is right now and how we can use it as marketers. Not necessarily a marketing example, but I think a way for you to think about how AI is changing the way that we do work. There was a really cool example, if you haven't checked it out, of this guy on Twitter who is creating a chat GPT prompt that he has dubbed Hustle GPT that allows him to basically ask it, I have $100, make me more money, right? That is his whole prompt. I'll even pull it up here. It's just hilarious. And I think that is like a perfect example of a different way of thinking. So not necessarily about the making $100, like whatever, but the idea of instead of you asking Chat GPT or other AI programs to do something for you, what if you asked it to tell you instructions to get something else done? It's a flipped way of thinking. So imagine if you said, AI, I want you to write a creative brief for me. Here's the problem. Yeah, that's cool. Like, that's a great use of AI to get you a basis of what a good brief might be. But thinking this way, flip it and say, okay, I know AI shortcomings, and I know that AI knows human strengths. Flip the conversation and say, AI, help me write a better creative brief. Or help me find the things that you lack as a computer program and use my strengths to write a better creative brief. Write your prompts that way and see what you get. Because this is really interesting. So he's basically saying, hey, I want you to help me take $100 and make it into something really amazing, really cool, more money, right? And then he's doing the actions that ChatGPT tells him to do. So instead of humans controlling the AI are controlling humans. We're doing the work on behalf of the AI to fulfill what it wants us to do, which sounds kind of scary. But imagine how you can kind of use this different way of thinking to help you out. So just wanted to put that out there. I think that's a really cool idea, and I want to explore it more as just like a group. And we'll do that in the Discord. I think it could be really fun to like write a creative brief, not by having ChatGPT write it for us, but by ChatGPT instructing us how to write a better creative brief. So I'm going to take you over to Midjourney. Boop. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll up. So we talked a little bit about ChatGPT maybe not doing such a good job at text or images, right? Oh, I'm not sharing anything. Wait a minute. Yes, I am. Sorry, there's a delay. All right, so we talked about ChatGPT maybe not doing the best job at showing like logos or imagery or things like that, right? And so that is totally something that happens. So in this case, here's the image that I provided. I provided this Caress bottle, a PNG. Ignore when I mess up one of the values here. And I said, give me a beautiful modern bathroom featuring books and warm lighting and a full tub of bubbles. And then I told it to give me a specific aspect ratio. And then in my settings, I've already set it to use version 5. So it's giving me version 5 here. As you can see, it did not do the best job of rendering me a bathroom that might be useful for me, especially if I just plan on photoshopping, you know, this Caress bottle back in that I had as my initial artwork. You know, maybe I could use this top left one. Like the Caress bottle could cover that horribly AI derivative bottle that it created, and then the bathroom is somewhat useful, but it's not great. And you can tell also that the aspect ratios, it's not really respecting, and that I think is a bug of V5. So then went and did it again. I said, okay, let's try this again. Give me a modern bathroom featuring books and warm lighting and a full tub with bubbles. Again, give me the aspect ratio, which it did not respect. And give it an image weight, so --IW is image weight of 2, which means that it gives more weight to the Caress bottle in this example. And you see what it did? It literally made the bottle bigger. And we'll see that in the Gatorade example. So I tried going the opposite direction. I said, okay, give me the same prompt, but give me the Caress bottle in an image weight of 0.5. So this is what it does when it's 0.5. Now here we go, right? This is something that's useful. 0.5 is actually pretty good. In this example, it's using the colors, the design, the swirls that are inside the product label and inside the product soap itself to create a bathroom that is actually pretty useful for us if we were creating like a quick turn social asset. I would take any one of these bathrooms, and I did, down here, and I would go ahead and try figuring out a way to put a Caress bottle somewhere in the comp, maybe just like floating in the middle of the screen, if this is literally just a social post for Instagram that I'm creating quickly. Now you can see it did try taking the labels copy and placing it throughout the background. This would be something, again, you would probably want to go back in Photoshop and just clean up, but it's got us some of the way there. I think the bubbles inside the bathroom could use some work. That's something that you could do inside of prompting. In the last class, we talked about weighting. And so if you haven't seen that, basically it's a way for you to take specific parts of your prompt and say that this is more important than the others. So using weighting is a really great way for you to make sure that you're getting the attributes that you want. For example, the bubble bath that we were expecting inside of this tub. Let me show you another example of this. So this is just a thumbnail I found on YouTube for a Gatorade bottle. I thought it was good enough to use in this example because it is not quite an ad-worthy piece of imagery. Oh, it might be. It's pretty beautiful. Like this Gatorade bottle's got some amazing, water beading on the outside. Yes, no text could work as well to remove things that you want. But in this example, I just wanted to show that this is probably a photo that you could take, right? That's why I picked this image. You could probably take a Gatorade bottle and bring it out to any setting that you want, the back of your house, your local school, football field and track field, and put it on the ground and take this picture. There's, some lighting issues that clients would definitely call out about this Gatorade bottle, and it doesn't necessarily read hero product for an ad, but it's close enough to get us started. So imagine in this example, if you had taken this photo and you were pitching Gatorade. And then let's say, for example, you wanted to then use this as the basis for you creating more comps. So in this example, we brought in the image. And again, if you have never done this, you just drag an image into your Discord Midjourney experience. And then you just want to right click on it and you want to copy the image link. And that's where you put this into your image prompting inside of Midjourney. And we can do this live in a second. And then what I'm writing is outdoor photo shoot of track runners practicing at night, set in high school outdoor stadium with track, bright stadium lighting illuminating the track and field at night. You see, I keep saying night because I really want to make sure it's night. Large full moon in the night sky. It ignored my large full moon in the night sky, but there again, we talk about how you would then bring that back. And then I said aspect ratio 16:9. Again, it, for better or worse, keeps that. And here we go. This is what it brought us. So you can see the orange shirts. That's actually coming from the Gatorade bottle tops. That's the inspiration there. You can see that it tried to keep a bottle in the frame. It also kept the camera angle the same from the previous image. So you can see where it's getting that inspiration. So lots of really cool things there. You can see it added a lot more runners because we asked it to have runners training at night. Some of them are not going in the right direction. Some of them have legs going in unnatural ways, but you could see that this would be a really great basis for us to then take a picture of our Gatorade bottle that we already had, maybe a really beautiful, color corrected art, retouched bottle of Gatorade, and now just Photoshop it in place. Where I think this gets really cool is now if you could just imagine using these images as a plate and bringing them into a 3D animation program, and then using the similar light source that's created here to create a light map, or I forget a texture map, whatever it's called, and put it over the 3D version of the product that you have from your clients, and then you can really just go off. You could put in amazing lighting effects on a 3D version of a Gatorade bottle if you had the 3D version of your client's product. So I just wanted to show you really quickly what that looked like. Here's some other examples. In this case, I weighted the Gatorade bottle at -IW2. So it's just featuring more of the bottle and making it more of the focus. And then going to the exact opposite end of the spectrum, here's -- image weight, or IW 0.5, where now the bottle is either non-existent or not there at all. Again, getting us to a really great point where it'd be easy for us to just Photoshop a Gatorade bottle or a Gatorade logo or copy, or just using these as a storyboard in an ad that we'd want to shoot for Gatorade, but we don't necessarily want to spend hours on a stock photo website getting the lighting and the tone and finding the right high school track. This is where this can help us save time as marketers. Here's another example. I wanted to change the time of day. So even though the photo that was given to us was only a photo of a Gatorade bottle set on a track field at night, I went ahead and said, set us at day. Now I kind of messed up in this prompt writing because I also asked for it to still have the track illuminated by those stadium lights. So you see what it's doing is it's making it so it's like, yeah, it's still daytime, but in order for it to be illuminated by the lights, it kind of has to be either evening or dusk, or excuse me, evening or morning. And so that's kind of what we have here is this like very dramatic, these people are either staying late or they're up really early training, which is kind of a cool art effect in itself. But again, super easy for us to go now and Photoshop the Gatorade bottle exactly into our comp. When will this broadcast be available later? Yes, all of my live streams that I do save on this LinkedIn page. They also pull up on my Twitter account at Jeff McAddress. So you can watch this anytime you want. So those are really cool examples there. So in this one, again, I said all I did was change and turn this into daytime. So now we have a nighttime version and a daytime version of the shoot. So this would be like really helpful for you if you were trying to create comps for storyboarding, or if you were trying to create artwork for a pitch that you were running, or even if you were doing just like really simple social assets. But all of the limits I still talked about before still apply, where you take on the legal responsibility of using this as finished work. So if you are worried about litigation in the future about using this type of work in a public setting, like as a social post or as a TV ad or as a print ad, know that you may want to steer clear of that and still just use this as inspiration for something that you would capture yourself. All righty. So I'm going to jump back into the deck. This is really cool. This helps us understand a little bit about how version 5 works and how photo accurate it is. I hope you would all agree that these photos are basically, they look real. They look like I went down to a track and stuck my iPhone on the ground and took some pictures of people running around. And it's pretty cool that we can do this now. So let's go ahead and talk about how we can get better at prompt writing. So how do we make it so that us as marketers, people working and using these tools in our free time can get better at doing these types of prompts? Well, there are some really amazing frameworks that are coming out there on the internet that could help us write better prompts. And one of my favorites is by Nick St. Pierre, also goes by at Nick Floats on Twitter. And what he does is he has this process called additive prompting, which basically creates a table generated by ChatGPT of images or of prompts that he wants to create that gives him different scales or different styles. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So we'll jump right over into that again. So let's go ahead and open back up our deck here. So we're going to talk again about additive prompting. So Nick Floats, or at Nick St. Pierre, is his name, created this process of additive prompting, and this is taken directly from his Twitter account. So what we're going to put as a prompt, and remember in my style, I always do / to let you know when I'm putting a prompt on the screen. Please create a table that breaks down an interior architecture photograph composition into the following key elements, where each of these key elements is a column. So again, this is a prompt you would put into ChatGPT to help you generate a table that then you would then use into an app like Midjourney. So what he's asking here is that he wants to break down an interior architecture photograph composition. He's looking for something very specific, and here you would change this to whatever you want. So you might want a sportsy magazine editorial photograph, or you might want a simple YouTube thumbnail. And then so that's what you want. You're telling, we're back to our basics of ChatGPT prompt writing. You're telling it what you exactly want, and the more detailed you are, the more accurate your output is going to be. And we want to break it into the following key elements, where each of these key elements is now put into a column view. So now we're also asking for everything to be put into a table, and we want all of these to be columns. And what we want is the composition camera angle, style, room type, focal point, textures, detail. He goes on, he's very verbose. He has a lot of text here about what he would want in his table as part of his additive prompting process. So he asked ChatGPT to include all of these things and fill the table with 10 rows of data And then he's locking the first column of data where the composition equals editorial style photo. Might be a little bit hard to follow along, but this is an image of what you get back. So in the first column, ChatGPT is giving him as the composition locked editorial style photograph. That's what he asked for at the beginning. He's looking for editorial style photograph. For you, again, it might be a sport cover. It might be a YouTube thumbnail. It might be a product simple Instagram post. Your composition is going to be what stays the same. And then all of the other variables are going to be what changes. Your camera angle, style, room type, focal type, point, textures, detail. And what's really great here is it's broken it down and randomized it. So now what we can do is we can literally take all of these columns and copy and paste them. So we have something to work off of. So let's go ahead and just straight up copy and paste what Nick has given us. So I'm going to go ahead and get ChatGPT running on this. And hope everyone's following along and having a good time. I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to ChatGPT. We're going to go ahead and switch to version 4 because why the heck not, which currently has a cap of 50 messages every 4 hours. It was 100 the last time I was in here. So we're going to say, let's create a table that breaks down architecture photograph composition into the following key elements. Let's just keep it with what the original example was. And then we'll copy and paste the last part of his example. And the examples are all of these details, including brand, which is really great. He actually has it showing all the different brands of interior design. So, West Elm, IKEA are all going to show up here. And then fill the 10 rows of data where composition is the editorial style. Go ahead and run that. ChatGPT is going to start generating the text here. It's going to take it a little second. So ChatGPT 4 is a little slower than 3.5 and the other subsequent, so it takes a little longer. This table is relatively large, so I'll probably have to zoom out to get everything. But either way, it's going to get all of this going. I'm going to go ahead and just stop it because it takes a long time for it to render out. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this. Actually, I can actually have it write this out. Write out the first row as a sentence for use in Midjourney for AI image generation. Be specific and use full sentences. Let's see how well it does. Ooh. Oh, the perfect experience. Looks like I pushed my luck too much with GPT-4 today. I should have just used what I knew would work. But what you can do is you can just go through what you have here. You can just copy and paste this. Should just be able to go over now to Midjourney. And same thing. So let's see what happens. This isn't a perfect full sentence, but I think it'll get us pretty much close to the way there. Like I said, in what I was doing inside of ChatGPT just a second ago was I was asking for it to create that as a full sentence, because what we discussed earlier is that Midjourney 5 is really looking for those full sentences. By using Nick St. Pierre's additive prompting process, it allows us to try out lots of different styles based on what we're looking for. So this is super helpful. Like if you were trying to create if you were creating a thought experiment where you're going to try lots of different styles, or you wanted to try lots of different photo techniques or cameras. Like if you don't know a lot about cameras and film types, but you know that there's Canon, Fuji, Nikon, Polaroids, high-end digital cameras, and you know that each one has a very specific look. And if you don't know what those looks are, let ChatGPT figure it out. Say, give me in the style of a Fuji camera, and give it to me in a style of black and white Kodak film stock from the 1960s. You know, it'll have that information in ChatGPT, and it'll help you write it and get it right so that it works in Midjourney. You can also put those things inside of Midjourney, and it'll figure it out as well. So here comes up our image of this editorial style photo, eye level modern living room featuring a fireplace. It is smooth, geometric patterns, neutral, monochrome, Vitra must be the brand, natural light, New York morning calm, minimalist. Again, not what we should be doing in V5. This should really read as a sentence, but just wanted to showcase how we're using additive prompting from Nick St. Pierre. Again, at Nick Floats, check him out. He's amazing at what he does. So V5, just like ChatGPT 4, is a little bit on the bleeding edge. It's a little bit buggy, so it takes a little bit longer to get our images, but when they do render, they're really helpful. This one is like kind of a super boring background. I'm not going to lie to you, but it did create something that's useful. So there's our rooms. Again, super photo accurate. Really love the rooms. Like this would be awesome if you're doing like a very simple ad and you just needed a room really quick that then you could like, maybe you place your product on that wall. Like maybe you're doing an ad for like a TV screen and you just needed a really beautiful room to place a TV for LG smart homes or something. Or if your product is going to be like a smart robot vacuum cleaner. Here's a perfect room for you to Photoshop your smart room vacuum cleaner. So again, I think the big learning here that I want to reiterate is that the additive prompting process that Nick Floats created is a really awesome way for us to build on our prompt writing process because it helps us generate lots of different styles very easily and very quickly. So check it out. I'm going to be posting a worked up version of this deck next week that's a little bit easier to follow and a little bit more verbose than what I have today. So check out next week on my LinkedIn page. You'll be able to download this PDF. Also, you'll be able to get it on our Discord channel. So if you're a part of our Discord, you'll get this PDF first. I'll be posting it up. And I'll be also asking the Discord group if there's anything they want to see added to it. But this will be your little take-home PDF that you'll have that I'll post in my LinkedIn and the Discord page. Awesome. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about this prompting process. So here in this example, what we've done using this additive prompting is we've gone to ChatGPT and given it some parameters of what we're looking for. And it's basically generated a random table for us to try out tons of different styles. Well, what if you don't have ChatGPT or access to it? Or what if you're working and you are beyond the stage where you need random and you actually need to start getting at a very specific ask? What is the best process for going and making sure that when you write a prompt, you don't miss anything? Well, today I want to share with you a mnemonic acronym that I'm working on that helps you write prompts for AI image generation that I think hits on all of the main aspects that Nick Floats has created inside of his additive prompting process, but makes it a little bit easier for you to follow along because it has just a few less parameters. So we're going to be creating a mnemonic today. And what I created was CALMS, and it originally had me doing CLAMS, but I changed it to CALMS. You can say CLAMS in your head if you want, if that's easier for you to remember. But if we're going with CALMS, what we need in every prompt in Midjourney is we need to understand what type of camera, and I'm using camera loosely here. It could be literally saying what type of camera, like we're creating a Polaroid or we're creating a Fuji 600 or a Nikon D40, like whatever you want it to be. You could be specific or you could be very not specific. You can say that I'm just looking for something that is a fisheye lens photo. So camera is going to be you telling it exactly what the image should look like from what it's capturing from. So this is the camera it needs to use. Then you have artistic style. What type of photo do you want the camera to take? Are you looking for a Polaroid of, a night party, or not that yet, but like of a party? Or are you that is maybe like kind of like lo-fi? Or are you looking for like magazine quality editorial Vogue photo shoot? What is the artistic style that you're looking for? So that way it knows now what camera, what lens, what style, and then how do you want the end product to be perceived artistically? Is it high quality? Is it low quality? What is that visual representation that you're looking for? Then location. Where do you want this set to be? You have to set the setting. Where are we? Are we inside of a warehouse in New York with really large windows? Are we in a jungle? Are we in the desert? Give us a location and be as drawn out as possible. Give it the daytime, nighttime, the weather. This is location is where you're really going to set the scene of what is around you. Similarly, mood. Mood is very important when using image generation because mood is going to interpret what style, again, stylistically, what is being generated around them. Is it, going to be a really energetic photo shoot where there's a lot of things happening, or is it more calm, subtle? Do you want people to feel like when they look at this image that they're relaxed, or should they feel like they need to do something? And using it in mood is really important when you're creating images for marketing, because that might be the thing that you're trying to enact. Like if your product is Caress body soap, you want to enact an energetic calmness, right? So you might put that in there. Or if your brand is Gatorade, you know exactly what you want the mood to be of your imagery. So mood is super important. And lastly, subject. This is the end all be all of what you need, right? Like this is exactly what I need. I told you I need a fisheye lens camera in the style of a high-end ESPN photo shoot at a running track at a high school. The mood is super energetic. People are training for a sporting event, and the subject is runners preparing for a competition, right? So these are all the like super important things that are going on here. And that's in your prompt. So columns. So hopefully what I've created here is something really easy for you to remember every time that you go to write a prompt. So that way you don't miss something that you may need. Just remember columns. I don't know how helpful this will actually be. And if anyone has any better mnemonic devices that they want to come up with me join the Discord and we can do it. So I went ahead and created one. So let's look at what I created. So for our camera, I said a Polaroid picture. I'm just going ahead and saying that what I want is a Polaroid. And then I said for the artistic style, I want a high-end fashionable. So we're saying for our artistic style, this is just going to be like a really high-end, maybe it's hyper-realistic 4K would need to be added here to make sure that it stays that like magazine editorial quality. And then I say fashionable, we're looking for something that's like really well designed in our artistic style. For location, we're going with a downtown New York City apartment interior. Here, I might want to add other specific details, like what's the lighting? Maybe there's really large studio lighting. Maybe all of the windows are completely blacked out and we're using studio lighting equipment, and it's very like direct flash lighting. We might want all of those things. And then for mood, we're looking for cheerful, bright, and well-decorated. We're just looking for something that is a good background setting. And then for our subject, we're looking for a chess competition. I thought that would be a fun one for our subject. So let's go ahead. I wrote this prompt out. Let's go ahead and see what Midjourney V5 came up with. I literally generated that right before I went live. If you joined us in the first couple of minutes, you heard me speaking out loud this prompt because I was making sure that is exactly what I wanted. So we'll go ahead and see what it did. I think we're going to need to adjust a couple of parameters to get exactly what we want. Yeah, so it was before here. So first off, one of the things I think you can really notice in this example is that the first image on the left-hand side, it's looking very much just like either like a Pinterest or a magazine. I'm not sure quite where it's going with that. But then the other images are actually pretty good. It's a little small in terms of the apartment. I mean, maybe this is what we're going for. Maybe this is because it's a Polaroid image. Maybe we're trying to go for like a little bit more lo-fi experience and we're not going for like a, 1,500 square foot Manhattan studio space. This is a little bit more intimate, and this is the chess competition happening inside this home. But these are still really useful. Going back to teaching you a little bit about the new version of Midjourney, version 5, the upscaling is not an official upscale. So when I click upscale of, I think we are really liking this bottom right. So upscale image 4. When you do upscaling now, it literally is just taking that one image and just giving you a larger version. It's not the previous V4 or previous before that versions of Midjourney, where it then is rendering the image, giving you a chance to maybe change those parameters if you're using the remix function. It's just giving you that one image at a larger scale. The image scale is very huge. For example, I did one of these images yesterday. It was 8 mega, and if you were in our Discord, we talked about this. It was 8 megabytes large to 2,400 or 2,048 pixels by 2,048. Very large, very high quality image, super useful for a lot of the work that we're doing. So this is pretty cool. This is one way to do it. So this is using my C.L.A.M.S mnemonic, and a really fun way for you to think about creating content. So I'm going to go ahead and try this again. But what I want to do is I want to bring in a photograph that I have taken of a product. Or actually, maybe I'll just do like a random product. So let's go to ChatGPT really quickly, so we can truly make this random. And I'm just going to stick with GPT 3.5 because I don't need 4 right now. I'm going to ask for something. I'm just going to ask for, give me a random brand that sells a product in grocery stores. That's it. Annie's Homegrown. They make natural foods, including mac and cheese, cereal, crackers, and snack bars. Sure. Let's go try an Annie's Homegrown products, images. Okay, I just switched over in StreamYard. Yeah, there we are. And then we're looking for an image. I'm a fan of their mac and cheese product. We just need to find one we want to use. I want to do one that rice, pasta, and cheddar. You got it. This will work. So we're going to save this image. Now we're going to pop back over to Midjourney. And like I've shown before, what we need to do here is we now need to take this image and we need to put it on the Discord server so that then we can create a link for it. So now we're going to copy link, and we're going to go ahead and first add, what we want to do. First add the image, and now we need to use our comms method to create our image that we want. So comms, the first one is going to be camera. So for the camera, let's do something really hi-fi. So let's use like a medium format camera that is using Kodak premium film. It doesn't need to know what premium film is, but it'll just know that it needs to look good. We can even say real quick that we just need 4K high res. And then, so that's camera. So next we need artistic style. So comm now is artistic style. So for artistic style, we're kind of looking for like a, this is for for Annie's homegrown rice pasta and cheddar, let's say we're like creating something for social. So maybe we want it to be a simple shot on iPhone kind of situation, or maybe it just looks very natural. So we'll say with natural photograph that looks not too stylized or high end, like make it look attainable. Like anyone could have took that photograph of Annie's rice pasta and cheddar. So that's the A. So now we've got comms. We're going to be looking at, I have to go look at my own darn acronym, location. So we're inside of a suburban household kitchen that is well designed and features high-end appliances, right? Because Annie's homegrown, we're like kind of like the premium option out there, right? And so maybe we also want in our suburban household kitchen, we want large windows with natural lighting. And maybe we want this during dusk, because maybe this is what you're having for dinner. So there's our location. So we've got camera, artistic style, location, and the next is going to be the mood. And so for the mood for this, we want this to be calming, energetic. No, you can't do both. Calming and feels like home. That's good for our mood. We'll just say calming and feels like home because, again, Annie's, it's the healthy option. We want to make our customers feel like this is something that is normal, everyday product that they would purchase. And then lastly, in comms, so we've got the camera, artistic style, location, mood, and the last we're going to have is going to be the subject. What do we want? And we want a dinner table. A dinner table in the middle of the kitchen, in the middle of the room, with a large bowl of, what are these? Mac and cheese. And a glass of water. All right, we've got a lot of things going on here. And I'm going to go ahead and put in the imagery aspect ratio we want at 16:9. I am always working at 16:9. There's a lot going on here. We're probably going to have to do a lot of editing to get it to exactly what we want. But I'm going to go ahead and go in here. Kate says, my mind is blown. I'm going to save so much time image searching. I totally agree. I think this is like the biggest thing for me and the reason why I'm trying to teach as many people as possible, especially in marketing and agency world, is that you can spend so much more time coming up with ideas and like leading with the main big idea and selling great work to your clients because they're getting a more visual representation of what you had in your head of what you wanted versus spending time on stock photo websites or Google Images trying to find something close to what you wanted, right? This is going to get you all of the way there most of the time, especially with V5. It's very accurate. So we're going to spend a little bit more time waiting for this to render. It's got a little bit to go. Again, like I've said, V5, the biggest thing that is the issue is it's super slow. But while it's rendering, if you don't already know, we've got a Discord chat. I'm sure the people that are here right now have been here for all of the questions, or they're already part of the Discord chat. But remember, we've got people that are going to be watching this live stream later on. And I just want to plug this. This Discord chat is a really amazing place where we're talking about what the future of AI is doing for marketers. It's a really lively group of people going back and forth about what are the latest tools and announcements as they happen. Yesterday, we were going crazy about V5 and talking about all the cool latest trends we were seeing. I'm always posting news that I see online. It's also where I post things like the recordings of these conversations and as well as the PDFs of my of these presentations. So if you haven't joined that Discord, all right, it's almost done. It's got a little bit to go. I think I want to make sure it's this time today. We actually try to stay as close to the hour as possible. So I'll probably, after it does this image render, I'll take any questions anyone has inside of the chat here. But other than that, we'll try to wrap it up. So that way I can give everyone their hour or give the rest of their day back. But I want to talk about, while this is finishing rendering, what our next live stream is going to be about, which I'm really excited about. So we are going to be doing something really fun as a community, an AI for Marketers Discord group and community. I am creating a game that allows you to basically pretend you are an ad agency within ChatGPT, and you get to try your hand at creating an ad brief and get judged by a panel of experts. So it's kind of like a role-playing game. And the way that it'll work is that you will generate, in the beginning of the role-playing game, a agency name, and you will generate a client. And then it will generate a random problem or brief for you. And then you will answer that brief in the game, and it will judge you. And then it will ask your client and famous people in the time of marketing to also judge you and give you a score and give you tips on how to improve. And the game will keep a running score as you play it inside of ChatGPT. And the goal of the game is basically to win against the other players by having the highest score at the end of the process. And ultimately, the goal is for you to become better as a marketer through ChatGPT, but doing it in the guise of a really fun game that we've created in ChatGPT. So I'm currently tweaking what that initial prompt is that runs this role-playing game inside of ChatGPT. But what I'm really excited about for next week when we do this live stream is I'd love to play the game live with you all. So if there's anyone interested, join our Discord group or hit me up in this LinkedIn or send me a private message. I'm looking for a couple of players who want to play live on stream our simulated agency game inside of ChatGPT, which I think is going to be really fun. So hit me up. I'd love to get some players. Let's take a look at this image that it generated for us. So first off, right off the bat, what I can tell you might be wrong here is the mood, the lighting is a little dark. It's a little natural, but that's kind of what we asked for. And the product is way too large. Like, it really took to heart that box of Annie's mac and cheese, and it's making it front and center. But like we said, it's never going to look right. But even so, if we photoshopped in the Annie's box in here, it still might be a little too big. So that's where you could use the image weighting. So let's go ahead and see what happens. So here, we could put the Annie's box on one of these. Like, I think, barring having to change entirely what the noodles are on this plate, we could probably put the Annie's box on like this one right here. And then we'd have to Photoshop probably the actual noodle image over this plate. But it got us pretty close. Let's go ahead and redo this render. And this time, what we're going to do is -- image weight, IW 0.5. So now we're saying to Midjourney that we want to weight the image of the Annie's mac and cheese less. So it's going to take a second for it to do this render. But what we should get is still our kitchen, still the same mood, lighting, camera effect. I'm assuming that the Kodak quality film on a medium format camera is what gave us this like really moody effect. Is all going to stay, but now what we should see is less of a box on our kitchen table. So we're just waiting. We're going to wait for that render to finish out. It looks like it's going a little bit faster than the last one. While we've got some time and I'm sticking around just for a little bit longer after stream, does anyone have any questions right now? I know it's a little bit of a delay when I ask a question and I see them show up, so I'll stick around. But if you don't already know, I've gone ahead and the presentation that this live stream is built on is still work in progress, but the comms platform, the camera, artistic style, location, mood, and subject framework that we created, that's all going to be posted on my LinkedIn and our Discord group. And you also can always go back and watch this. Is there a way that you can get the 4 images it creates to be a bit more divergent. Yes, you would create that using, and I'm just going to really quickly switch over to a different screen. You would use that using the chaos option. And I'm just going to go inside of the Midjourney. Switch screens. Yes, you would use the chaos function. So --c --chaos. This influences the difference between each of the 4 images the most. I think you could also try using stylize, but stylize is just how much freedom you want to give Midjourney, but it also might help working both of those. But I would first try chaos, and it should mix up your 4 parameters more. Yeah, you can tell. Like here's the default. These images are all kind of very similar about the watermelon owl. And then here is chaos turned up to high. If you wanted different surface options, chaos would probably get you there, or you might literally honestly just use the additive prompting process we talked about using ChatGPT and just have it generate 4 different surface options. But if you want them all up in the 4-up grid, I think your best bet is to try it with this chaos function. You can also use weighting, which inside of the parameters list, let's see if I can put it in here. I don't know if I'll be able to find it in time, but you can also use image weight. Oh, that's what we're using now. But you can use weighting to make it so that you could say, I don't want the table, or I don't want my surface to be the most important thing. Let me go back to our Midjourney. Yeah, chaos. That was your question. I love it. Back to Midjourney. All right, so let's see what happens now. Ooh, it really went for it. So now what it did is it took everything really literal. And now what it did is it created a medium format camera. Those aren't medium format cameras for the most part, but it put the camera literally in our shot. Not exactly what we would want. So this is where we would want to go back and use the no parameter and say no camera, and then maybe like no box of mac and cheese. So that way we were getting a very clean mat that we could then go back and put our actual 3D Photoshop comp of our mac and cheese on. In the future, I can see this being used as a tool where people are literally first getting these matte images from Midjourney and then going and doing the photo shoot. Now I know exactly how the lighting is, and now I can go and try to recreate this lighting and put my mac and cheese in a similar situation and now comp it into this beautiful kitchen or this realistic kitchen for Annie's. So that'd be a really fun way to create some social content. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed going through this process that I have here about image generation and AI image generation for marketers. I'll stick around for a couple more minutes for any questions that people have. But yeah, I think it's been a really fun experience just learning how to use Midjourney, specifically around Midjourney version 5, which is really asking us to start thinking about things in full sentences and not just in these like break apart ways of working. So hopefully the comms, process, camera, artistic style, location, mood, and then subject, pneumatic is make it easier for you to write those verbose sentences inside of Midjourney and make it so that you're not missing a very important part of any image prompting that you do. So it's a really fun way to do it. I'll throw up on the screen just for a second in case anyone literally just wants to screen cap it. Like I said, I promise I'm going to be posting the actual presentation. But if you just want to start using it and maybe provide me some feedback. Maybe if you want to tell me about how I could make it this this thing better, let me know. But make this pneumatic better for me. Comms is the best I could do in the time that I had. Common theme. But yeah, so this was our first image generation workshop. If you need more background about different ways to create images, different ways to use some of the different parameters, like we talked about image weighting here, we talked about, we didn't talk about using the no parameter, but all those kind of like things, go back to my previous streams and also the previous PDF I put up on my LinkedIn. And all of that information is there in the latter half of the stream and the latter half of the PDF. It talks about kind of the basics of image generation. Today, I really wanted to concentrate on how we can be using it as marketers to do some of the things that we need, teaching people about additive prompting using ChatGPT, because I think that's like a really cool, powerful tool for you to get lots of ideas. And then I really wanted to introduce this idea of a mnemonic device to help you remember the things that you need in a prompt. For a second, I thought I could put my finger over the image. That's the next stage in my live streaming career. Cool. I don't see any other questions. I want to make sure that I don't keep people here for like 2 hours. Last time I went over by 30 minutes, but I really appreciate you all joining my live stream today. I'm going to be doing some more live streams in the future on lots of other AI topics, especially as things like ChatGPT get the image recognition tool within the UI experience, not using just the API. I also will be experimenting with lots of other API or AI tools. I know I've said I'm going to show them on the stream, but I've just been sticking with ChatGPT and Midjourney because those are the ones that I think are the most well established, easy to access, and all of them are leading the pack in terms of their capabilities. And a lot of the tools that you use are just using those as APIs anyways. What should we do if we want to participate in your game you're talking about? Yes, so what we're going to be doing next week is I'm going to be publishing my prompt for how to run an agency role-playing game inside of ChatGPT. If you're interested in playing, just feel free to message me on LinkedIn, find me on Twitter at Jeff McAddress. Find me wherever you can and let me know that you want to join, or join the Discord and let me know that you want to be a part of the group. And what we'll do is we'll do it live on stream. And my plan is to make it so that people who are participating in the game will be able to send their answers to me via Discord. So you'll probably need to join the Discord anyway to play. And I also want to use the live chat feature inside of Discord to make it so that our live chat is part of this live stream. Don't feel like you need to be on camera. But if we want to do that, we can figure that out as well. We could also just use StreamYard. It has voice chat. But we want to make it so that you all are giving your responses to the role-playing game in real time. So hit me up if you want to be part of our next live stream, which is going to be a really fun agency role-playing game that I'm currently writing. Thank you so much, Nathan. Thank you. Just trying to make everybody a little bit better with the tools that we have. I always end this conversation about AI tools the same way, which is AI is not here to replace you. It's not to take your job. It's to make you better at what you do. Calculators did not replace mathematicians. It made it so that they could take on bigger challenges. And that's how I feel about AI. It's our calculator. It's our computer. It's going to make us better, faster. And so that's kind of like my goal for you all when I teach you these things. So thank you so much for joining. Have an amazing afternoon, and join us next week when we're going to be playing a game. Be fun. Bye, y'all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.